Hey guys, in this video tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to add a podcast feed on your WordPress website. And I'm going to show you how to add it to your Gutenberg editor and also to your Elementor editor. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to be creating this. I'm going to be using the Tony Robbins podcast feed for our tutorial. So this is what we're going to be creating. And if I click on play, you'll be able to listen to the podcast. So let me pause it for now. So let's get started. To set up our podcast feed, we have to install a plugin called Podcast Companion. And to install it, we go to the WordPress dashboard, click on plugins, click on add new. So we enter podcast and we search. So you're going to see this podcast player, your podcasting companion. Can you see by Veda Teams? So this is the plugin we're going to be using. So we're going to click on install now. Click on activate. All right, now that we've activated our plugin, the next thing we're going to do is to just straightforward, we're going to add it to our Gutenberg editor. And to do that, I'm going to go to pages. So I'm going to click on add new. So let's call this podcasting feed. So now if you notice, my Gutenberg editor is in code mode. So let me just quickly change that to visual editor. Perfect. Okay, so to add our podcasting feed, we just click on this add block icon, search for podcast player. Can you see it? Click on it. All right, so the first thing it's going to tell you to do is to submit or to enter the podcast RSS feed. And to get the podcast RSS feed, you can just search for example, in my own case, I'll just search for Tony Robbins podcast RSS. And to get the RSS feed, I'll just click on this. I'll just copy the link here. Can you see this link at the top? Copy it, come back to my block editor, paste it here, click on show podcast, and the plugin is going to do the magic for you. So it's going to load all the episodes, it's going to load the recent episodes, it's going to load the current or the latest one, where you can easily just click on play and you'll be able to listen to the podcast. So the next thing we want to do is to edit this. So let me enable the settings section. So if I click on this on our podcast player, on the right hand side, you're going to see change podcast content. You're going to see all the options. So if I click on this, you can add upload a cover image. So let me do that. I already uploaded a picture. Let's use this example. Click on select. But you won't see the change. You won't see the change. You won't see the effect now, because there's something we need to activate to see the podcast header. So you can add the description. This is a nice podcast. This is a nice podcast. All right, if you scroll down, how many episodes do you want to display at a glance before they can click on load more? So for me, I will change this to 12. Do you want to show excerpts? So for example, if you see this particular episode, you can see we have an excerpt here. Chris Barton founded. So we can do not show teaser text. As you can see, it has removed it. So let me just click on show excerpt. Yeah. So you can change the length, and you can excerpt length, you need the number of words and number of characters. You can change the criteria for the excerpt length. Now, the next thing is subscription buttons. So do you want to add like a subscription button? For example, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, or subscribe on Google Podcasts, subscribe on Spotify. So for me, I'll just add hash for each one. That's fine. I'll just do Apple, Google, and Spotify. So we are going to see all the how this going to come out. So the next thing is to go to the show or hide player items. So if you could remember, we added the header cover image. So if I enable this show podcast header by default, you'll be able to see the header image I added. Can you see it? This is the header image, the name of the podcast, and the description, which was not visible before. So I'm going to enable this, and I'm going to just use the default. Remove this, remove this. So it's going to come up with, it's going to load the default picture and description of the podcast, which is perfect. So you don't have to start adding custom banner or cover image. So the next thing is show episode list by default on mini player. You can enable this and you can disable this. So the next thing is hide podcast header. You can hide the header. So you're going to hide the header. You can hide the cover image. You can add you can hide the podcast title. So you see, you just see the description. You don't see the title. So you can hide the description. You can hide the custom menu. And if you notice, we have the search episode here. Can you see it? Search episode. So you can search for any episode. So if you want to disable that, you can just hide this. Let's scroll down. All right. So I would, I think the search is perfect. So you scroll down, you can hide all the details you don't want to be visible on the podcast feeds. So I'd load more episode button. No, I want them to be able to load more. I'd share links. No, I'd featured. No, this is perfect. So let me go to the next section, which is the podcast player styling. So I'll just click on this, right? Change it to, so they have three styles. They have the default catalog, which is the design they started with, and the modern player. The modern player is so beautiful. So I'll just click on it. And it will give you this modern look, which is perfect. So if we scroll down, go to the next section, we have the accent color. So currently you can see that the color we have here is green. So I want to change this color. So we want to change it to like, just click on it, click on this big box here. And you can select the color you want to change it to. So mine is yellow. So once I'm done, just click on OK. So that's how to change the accent color. You can see now it's now yellow. And you can go to sort and filter to change the way you want the episode to be displayed. Do you want the date descending, title descending? So I can do not sort. So for me, date descending is perfect. So people want to see the latest episode. So you can also filter the episode based on the episode title. So go to advanced. If you want to add additional CSS, that's fine. So once you're done, just click on publish. So let's view our podcasting feed. So this is how to add it to the Gutenberg editor. So you see how it looks amazing. I click on play. I'll be able to listen to the podcast. So let me just pause this. All right. So that's how to add the podcast feed to the Gutenberg editor. So I'm going to show you how to add it to the Elementor builder now. And to do that, so let's go to our dashboard. Let's go to pages. Let's go to our page, the page we want to add the podcast feed. Okay, so we're going to be using podcast feed. We're going to be using the podcast feed page. Click on edit with Elementor. All right, so as you can see, we've not added our podcast feed here. So to add the podcast feed to Elementor, we have to use the widget, the Elementor WordPress widget element. Unfortunately, the plugin doesn't have a native element on Elementor. So we have to use the widget element. To get the widget element, all you have to do is to scroll down till you get to WordPress, the WordPress element category. So click on it, scroll down to the end, and you see podcast player. Can you see here? So you drag and drop below. So it's going to load. So it's going to tell you, please provide a valid URL. So we are just still going to use our RSS feed URL. So I'll just go back to this page, copy it, come back here, paste it here. All right, perfect. As you can see, we now have our RSS feed. So let's just customize this. It's the same settings with the Gutenberg version. So for me, I don't need the podcast cover image. I'll change this to 12, number of episodes to show at a time, teaser text, except element length. So it's perfect. Button links. I'll add Apple, Google, and Spotify. All right. The next one is show. So I'm going to show the podcast header by default, show the episode list. What do I want to hide? Nothing. I think everything is okay. Go to the podcast playing styling. So instead of selecting the way we did on Gutenberg, I'll have to copy and paste my color. So let me just do that briefly. So paste. All right, so you can see the color has changed. So let's change the display style to modern. Perfect. So you can play around with the settings till it fits your needs, and you can sort by date, title, data sending. So once you're done, just click on update. So let's view our feed. All right, so you can see we have our feed here. So that's how to add the podcast feed to your WordPress website, and also how to add it to the Gutenberg editor and also Elementor. If this video was helpful, kindly drop a like button. Also subscribe for more video like this. Thanks for watching.